On October 5th, 1931, Clyde Pangborn and Hugh Herndon flew non-stop for 41 hours across the Pacific Ocean from Misawa, Japan to East Wenatchee, Washington in a 1929 Belonca aircraft named Miss Veedol. This was the first trans-Pacific flight in history.
Well, my dad we had a radio there, and we kept listening to it, and they were talking about it. And at that time, my dad got me and my sister and my mother got in the car and went up to parked. And we were up there probably, 10, 15 minutes. And we heard it coming up the river. It was following the river up. It was really thrilling because all of a sudden the plane all of a sudden you saw it, came along the river, and then they come up and landed at that point.
Wenatchee declares a holiday to see Pangborn and Herndon slide to home base. Everybody dropped everything and made a beeline for the airport. The landing gear was dropped in the ocean to increase speed and conserve the fuel, but the boys made a pretty good landing at that.
Well, it was probably 50 people up there at that time. It was really something. And of course, if they would have landed in Seattle, there'd be movies about it and everything about it. But in little Wenatchee, it was a bigger flight than Lindbergh made, actually. But they never did get the publicity.
In 1931, when Pangborn and Herndon, the two pilots, flew and landed this plane in Fancher Heights above East Wenatchee, they got a lot of help from the Japanese people outside Misawa in being able to pull this feat off. Actually probably could not have made the flight without the help of the local Japanese, who helped him build a ramp and build a runway and all kinds of things to get this feat accomplished. So there was a lot of good feelings being developed because of this cooperation that these two Americans had with these Japanese people in northern Japan.
で、昭和6年ですから、1900何本になるのかな。これいわゆる2名のパイロットが、三沢におって、いわゆるスパイの、そういうこの懸念っていうか、そういうのもあったようだけども、でもよくやったな、三沢は。そういうことはあんまり表面に出せなくて、みんな協力して飛ばしたと。そういう例もあるからね、アメリカ人を止めて、いわゆるパンも食生活が全く違うわけだから、それをやってのきた。そういうことをどんどんみんなが教えて、やっぱり三沢が今考えると、今でも外線がこう寄ってくると逃げるというか、刺身がなかなか持てない。昭和6年にそういうことができたわけだから、すごいなと思うんだよ。
ボランティアで滑走路を作ってくれたから、彼らは飛び立つことができたから成功ができたわけですよね。それ誰もボランティアで滑走路を作ってくれなかったら飛行機飛べないんですから、この事業は成功しなかったっていうか、スタートできなかったっていうね、そういう面から見ても今ボランティアっていう言葉で言われてるけども、もしかしたら日米の初めての共同ボランティアっていうか、そのスタートだったかもしれないですよね。
こっちの場合は
日本の場合は寂しろってもう寂しいところってみたいなイメージの寂しさを代表するって書くんですけども、そういう寂しさを代表するところからやっぱり上ナッチっていうその全然見たことも聞いたことのないところの間を飛んだと。残念ながら日本とアメリカは戦争をしました。残念ながら喧嘩をして鬼畜米って言葉難しいかな。アメリカは悪い人の集まりなんだってみたいな、そういう教育をしたわけです。そういう間違いの教育以前はやはり人としてその異形に協力するんだ、心底温かい気持ちで接したっていう、そういう原点がやはり人間としてのその一番の原点じゃないかなと思ってます。そういう気持ちを大事にしたいと思います。
うちのおばあさんはとても頭のいい人でっていうのもうちに泊める一つの要因だったかもしれない。で頭が良かったから女性で日本で初の郵便局長にもなってるんですよ。なので、厳しいんだけど頭も良くて優しいおばあさんで、その分孫である私たちを非常に可愛がって、くれたと。新聞とかテレビからの取材を受けてもなんていうんですか、ユーモアを交えながら正確なお話をされていたことを思い出します。で常にその取材を受ける時には私が呼ばれましてそばにいて、その話をよく聞いたりしたので今でもいろんなことを覚えている、そんなおばあさんでしたね。
In World War II, America and Japan fight, so many Japanese don't tell next generation the story of Miss Veedol, and time goes by, so the story was forgotten.
For a long time, just the idea of a Japanese in the mind of an American was a negative thing. I think that's why Pangborn and Herndon were never lauded like Lindbergh was, for example, or to that extent, because look where he landed, and look what he started, you know. You'd have to accept the Japanese in order to accept that this was a major historical event.
でそのちょうど50年後1981年になりますか、その時に50周年を記念してウェナッチとの姉妹都市交流を始めようという話が持ち上がりまして、で当時実際にウェナッチに三沢市の使節団が訪問しました。でその時にうちのおばあさんが2人のパイロットを世話をしたということで、一緒に使節団としてウェナッチを訪問しました。
They asked me if I would want to go over to Japan, you know, when they started a sister city thing, and I said no at first, and then I finally said yes because it was a free trip. And then I changed.
What happened? What made you?
Well, it changed because I'd been through World War II in the South Pacific. In fact, one of the islands I was on, we killed 4,800 on that one island. I got a picture of a grave in here, buried them. After I went over there and I stayed with the Japanese family, I took my grandson with me. I really, really changed. Before that, I didn't want anything to do with them.
一番はね、初めて自分がウイナッチバレーに訪問した時のウイナッチの皆さんの歓迎、その心がね、痛いほどこう伝わってくるんですね。
それはもう行くたびに、ね、感動しました。広い、ストリート、メインストリートに両側にもういっぱい人がおって、私も何回か行きましたんで、向こうの方が自分を覚えて、ミスタータネイスとかって言うんですよ。非常に感動しましたね。
In order to get Misawa on the map, they decided to really promote the flight of the Miss Veedol and the connection with America because of the American military base. They have a celebration every year on June 1st called American Day, where people from the base set up booths downtown and sell American products, and they make hamburgers and steaks and many people come from all over northern Japan to participate in this day, and they have parades. You know, we have here in East Wenatchee, they put banners up all over town showing the Japanese flag and the American flag and talking about Miss Veedol. Well, it's the same in Japan. They have the Japanese flag and the American flag and Miss Veedol taking off in 1931. It's really a big deal.
The experiences that we get to have with Misawa, the sister city relationship, and the students being able to go there, and the students coming here, and adults exchanging friendships and sense of community, we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for Clyde Pangborn and Hugh Herndon. If they didn't take that step to do something really brave, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and we wouldn't be going to Misawa, and we wouldn't be learning about another culture. We wouldn't be celebrating these achievements here locally and taking pride in our history. I mean, there's other things to be proud of, but this is a really significant piece, and we celebrate and we talk about it and we share stories.
I went to Wenatcehee last year, and I got a really exciting because Wenatchee's people welcome us so happily, and my host family is really kind, so I feel real family. So I want to go Wenatchee again. Sister cities relationship is we have to protect forever, and we accept our differences so we can be a good friends.
It's important for us to accept our difference, diversity, our culture, each other.
日本のことわざに温故知新という言葉座があるんですけれど、古いことを尋ねて勉強して新しいことを知るという意味では、やはりただ行きませんか、ただ来ませんかだけではなくて、やはり過去にはこういうことがあって、このことがきっかけで今もこうやって続いているんだよということをまず歴史を遡って知ってもらって、新しいことを教えなきゃなんないんじゃないかと私は今思っています。
After landing in East Wenatchee, the original Miss Veedol aircraft was sold. Shortly after, it disappeared during a flight over the Atlantic Ocean, never to be seen again. Community members in the Wenatchee Valley and Misawa continue to preserve the memory of Miss Veedol through artwork, paintings, music, sculptures, and scale replicas. In 2003, the Wenatchee community constructed the Spirit of Wenatchee.
レン・パグスリーさんはとその仲間たちは1999年から2000年頃にかけて復元機を作るという活動を始めたことがニュースとしてミソワにももたらされて、じゃあそれをどうにか に我々も手伝いできないのかなって、お手伝いできないかなというふうなことを考えて、さまざまな方法を考えました。三沢の市民のたくさんの方々から寄付をいただいたり、そのシャツを買ってもらったお金をスピリットウェナッチの方に、寄付させていただいたし、その再現飛行にはどういうことが必要なのか、どうやってその飛行機を日本に持ってきたらいいのか、スピリットウェナッチの関わりから少し離れたこともあって、その後乗る機会もなかったんですけど、そして再現飛行が決まって三沢にその復元機が来て三沢の空を飛んだ時には本当に涙が出たし嬉しかったし、今までの苦労が報われる思いでしたね。
We wound up going to the museum and getting every single photograph ever taken of this airplane, original airplane, to determine exactly what the airplane looked like. This airplane is an exact copy of the original, with the exception that we put modern instruments and things like that in it. But a lot of research went into this airplane, and it was a real challenge to do, and perseverance paid off. What we find it is very rewarding to have a real live breathing airplane that can not be a hangar queen or a static display. It's a real piece of machinery that people can appreciate, which is a vestige of our history.
We go to various air shows around the country. We have the airplane on exhibit here several times a year. We fly all the significant events in the valley, like the Classy Chassis Parade, the Kitties Parade, and the Grand Parade. And whenever the Chambers of Commerce of either East Wenatchee or Wenatchee ask us to participate in something, if they're having an event down at Confluence Park or down at the East Wenatchee Park, we'll come and make circles around, and you can see people looking up and they know it's Miss Veedol making her presence known.
It's become an icon, really, for the whole valley.
誰もしたことがない。だから冒険なんてのは非常にリスクも伴うし、大変だと思うんだけども、だからこそ挑戦してみてやることに挑戦することに価値があると。そしてまたそれをやり遂げたことにまた人間的に一回りも二回りも大きくなっていくと思う。ですから困難に立ち向かってこそ強い人間になれるんじゃないかなというふうに思っております。やはり国民同士が親密になるっていうことは理解し合えるっていうことなんですと思います。それで、世界的にこの争いが起きるっていうことは理解が足りない部分でこう争い、戦争、そういったものが起こるわけで、もっともっと親密になれば、この子どもたちももっとこう広い視野になって平和な国ができるお手伝いもできるんじゃないかなと。お互いに理解し合うってことが大事じゃないかなと思います。
I'd lost some of my friends in the war, and I at that time they were the enemy. They were the enemy, and now I realize that we're all human beings, and things happen, but then things get healed. And the sister cities, they healed me. It made me think a lot better of people.
The sky's the limit, really, as to what we can do with this. But we need to keep the enthusiasm up for it. And the way we do that is by taking people over there, exposing them to this wonderful trip as ambassadors and delegates. And then they come back because they're so well treated. I mean, the hospitality there is beyond anything you can imagine. And that hospitality leads to good feelings when people come home. And it helps foster the building and the continuation of our organization here.
Well, I think it's amazing that a small valley like this has made such a strong relationship with a city in a foreign country. It's a very strong sister city relationship that is that's continuing to last and even grow. Whereas most sister cities relationships, you know, they burn out quickly. There's the beginning interest, and then slowly but surely it disappears. So my goal is to make sure that doesn't happen here.
They will tell you that Pangbourne and Herndon established a bridge of friendship when they flew that plane across here and landed it in East Wenatchee, and that they are simply building on, strengthening that bridge of friendship every time that they send a delegation here and every time we send a delegation there. One person at a time, we're changing minds, attitudes, and giving an opportunity for people to have an experience that they probably couldn't have in any other way. So.
これだけね、みんなでね、一緒に嬉し涙、あるいは別れの悲しみの涙を流せるっていうね、お付き合いっていうか交流はね、そうそうないんじゃないかなっていう。
Of course, I really think it's a good deal. I mean, for them to start that, because it just how would have ever got to Japan, see, if I hadn't been for the sister city, and it's just a nice thing to have experienced something like that, which I never it's one of the highlights of my life.
All people I met in Wenatchee, they are my friends. Family, American family, I think. I have been inspired by the spirit of challenge from Pangbourne and Herndon, the excellent hospitality from Misawa people, handing down their great achievement to the next generation and valuing it from Wenatchee people. I believe that you're the only person who can expand your own world. That's all.